She's awesome. I really want to say that on stage because without her, none of this would have happened. Please give her a big round of applause again, guys. Please, thank you.
Simply put, if we don't protect nature, we can't protect ourselves. This...
Thank you, Gil.
This is what we need to do. We need to include nature in every corporate, state, and national climate goal. Put in place the plans, the timetables to meet those goals. Invest in mangroves and tropical forests in the same way invest in renewable energy. Work to end the destruction of these ecosystems. Commit to the effort in the next decade to secure them for the future. Pursue research in reforestation like we pursue research in carbon capture and storage. Set a goal to cut costs and increase scale dramatically. Empower indigenous communities to use their knowledge, their history, their imaginations, our science to save their heritage and their lands, respect and ensure their rights. Educate and elect leaders who believe in science and understand the importance of protecting nature. Stop, for God's sake, the denigration of science. Stop giving power to people who don't believe in science, or worse than that, pretend they don't believe in science for their own self-interest.
Yes, Indiana Jones is right. We need science. Science knowledge can prevent chaos. Why am I saying that Indiana Jones is right? What would we do if we had millions of pieces of information coming from the planet? Just imagine. What would we do if we had access to billions of temperatures, movements, vibrations, elephant footprints, all we can measure in the world? What would we do? What would we do if we had some physical data into the cloud? Well, I can tell you, it could prevent from chaos once again, because it's science. Because the Internet of Things is science, is knowledge, is the biggest environmental cloud that we have to build. Indiana Jones, once again, is so right. We have to believe in science. And that's what we are doing at Sigfox Foundation. We use the science, we prototype sensors to provide these data that is vital because it's alert, because it prevents from chaos. Just a word for my technical guys, if I just have some different speech, please. Thank you. At Sigfox Foundation, that's why I'm wearing a T-shirt. Maybe you see my T-shirt. It's rhinos, right? Rhinos, and we have a booth just behind, are dying from extinction. I guess you are parents. I'm a mother of two. You are parents. You have maybe grandchildren. They won't probably never see a rhino, never. There are only 27,000 rhino left in the planet. This is exactly the same for elephants, for tigers, for lions. But at Sigfox Foundation, we do not use the drama, right? My message is just to shake you that there is a big hope thanks to the Internet of Things. Thanks to the Internet of Things, we can take this little data, which is GPS location. That's what we do. We do an experimentation in Africa, in now 2 places in Africa, which is the rhinos tracking. And maybe you should tell me, why do we tracking of these poor animals? Because we have not to wait more. We need information. We need to have access to where they are, how they are moving. So this is, for us, very important to help rangers to get this information sooner than before. So what we do with the RhinoSpeak mission is to prototype small sensors, like an inch, implemented into the horn of 40 rhinos now, actually. And we have now a platform using by the rangers that provide the GPS coming from the real horns. It helps a lot, I can assure you, it helps a lot. Why? Because every week in the conservancy area we are working with 6 poachers entering the zone. 6 poachers, right? To find the animal, to get the information. The Internet of Things and our work is completely revisiting the danger, because we help the rangers that have access to the information first on a Google map. And we use the data to provide alerts to say, guys, something could happen, right? So the small sensors are quite, small objects, very simple, GPS location, that's it. But let me tell you a story. Last year, let me tell you about Dozer. Dozer is a rhino, a wild rhino, a real rhino, okay? Dozer wasn't equipped with a sensor compared to the 39 other ones. Dozer has been close to the fence. He went to the fence, approached the fence, facing the risk. He was slaughtered, completely massacred for the horn by a poacher with a Kalashnikov. How to avoid that? We think we had the solution. Because the 39 other rhinos implanted with a small sensor in the horn is now giving an alert on time. When Dozer, Marmont, Nike, the real names of the rhino, are approaching the fences, we are giving alerts, SMS, email, to the rangers. They are facing risk. Go in the field. There is a rush. And it's working, for real. This is how we use the data. This is how we use the Internet of Things. Just to know, just to have the information on time, giving the alert sooner, as soon as possible. So, NGO like WWF, the Jane Goodall Institute, a beautiful woman, wrote to me last week. This is real, huh? This is not fake. She wrote to me and to us and to the team saying, Marion, girls, because we are only girls at Sigfox Foundation. Bye-bye, Pauline. Hello, sorry. And Jane said to us, we need Sigfox now. We need Sigfox in Tanzania. We need Sigfox in Kenya. We need Sigfox in Botswana. We need Sigfox everywhere. Everywhere it's complicated to get the information. We need to know more. We need to reconcile the wild and the man. That's exactly the goal and the objective of the Sigfox Foundation. So big NGOs are coming to us because they know that with simple solutions, which are open on the internet, because we want to open the solutions to anyone in the world to get benefit from that. They come to us. They want to hear with the planet what the planet has to say. And our vision, once again, is to create, and that's something very important. We need to provide a worldwide open data platform based on environmental data. Once again, temperature, vibrations, seismic vibrations, movements, locations, coming from the sensors, because it's the physical data, it's a real data. We need to build that platform worldwide to help communities, researchers, developers, APIs, algorithm makers, to get this data and to provide solutions, because this is all about impact. Open, crowdsource the knowledge, and we will do that. So for me, once again, even I started that with Harrison Ford and Indianapolis, who is just shake us because he's angry. Huh? That guy is angry. I understand why, because we need people and leaders who believe in science. And there's so much cynicism today in the world. A lot of people saying, well, the planet is fragile, we need to protect, but they are doing nothing, right? This is my conviction. A lot of people, a lot of leaders have nothing to do with the cause to protect the planet. We trust we have a solution. We need to provide, we need to tell the world, and that's why I'm here on stage, to say, guys, we have sensors, we have the Internet of Things. Let's take it, this opportunity. Let's build this open data platform. Let's talk to developers. Let's talk to computer men. Let's talk to sociologists, researchers, and let's feed them with information. And that's what we will do, because for me, to end, Sigfox has decoded something very important. For me, Sigfox has just simply decoded the language of the nature. Really. It's not about fantasy, huh? It's about how we make rhinos speak. So intelligence is, for me, right, and I agree, even if I'm not so angry, I agree with him. There is no excuse not to listen what the planet has to say. Come to Sigfox Foundation booth just behind. Pauline and the team is fully open to tell you more about the rhinos protection and how we are opening the solution next March for $30 for 3 years of battery autonomy, these sensors that protect rhinos and the rangers. Come to us, because there is a big hope. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Marion. Thank you. Am I on? Yeah. Thank you, Marion. We're not over, actually. She's staying with me, and why would I let her go, actually? But I've been told that I need to do a battle of the stages. I need like 1 minute of this other microphone to actually say that people can choose between 2 stages. So I'm going to shout to everyone now. They all hear it. Hello, everyone. To let you know that now you have the choice between 2 stages. We're here on the main stage along with Marion. Marion, say hi.
Hi.
And we're going to talk now about the impact of Sigfox. We're going to have a guest. But please know that you also have a choice, if you don't like us, and we will be very sad, to go to the other stage, which is called Sparks, which is at the very end of the building, which has a track by Gaël Musquet starting exactly in 1 minute. So you have the choice. Thank you so much. And now we continue our discussion. Who are we inviting to do that?
Yeah, so back to what I said previously, we talked about Africa, which are a lot of concern, meaning the protection of animals. But Brian Bozier, who is coming in a few minutes, is from Kenya. He has traveled far away from Kenya because he's building a new water monitoring service which is completely disruptive. So we welcome Brian Bozier from Kenya. Welcome, Brian.
Brian, come on, ladies and gentlemen. Big round of applause for Brian. Hi, Brian.
Hi, thank you.
Hi. Take a seat.
And yes, we're going to be seated for this one. Oh, these chairs are very James Bondy.
Yes, it's James Bond in a way, yeah.
I'm missing the white cat. So, maybe for the audience to start with, can you, Brian, let us know who you are? Because they have very little context.
Sure. So it's a pleasure to be here. I'm Brian Bosire, and I'm from Kenya. I run a startup company called Hydro Logistics Africa, and our goal is to bring intelligence in water distribution. And one of the biggest reasons why we are doing this is because in most African countries, over 50% of the water that is supplied is actually lost before reaching the consumers. And that is a continent that has the highest percentage of water stress. So we are out to use Internet of Things technology and mobile money payments in order to automate most processes to reduce water losses and at the same time take water to the people who need it the most.
So before I continue with you, maybe is that the kinds of project that your foundation would be interested in?
Yeah, clearly. Yes, I think Hydro IQ, which is the name of Brian's company, and that's great what you're doing, is just to, when there is nothing, or something like a pain point or doesn't exist, or, in terms of, issue in Africa, such as the access to water and to sow a better life, sow a life. For us, it sounds impact. Meaning that with simple solution, affordable solutions, you could replace what should be a public service, in a way. Am I right when I say about Hydro IQ?
Definitely. So, as I said, one of the biggest challenges that we face as a continent is inefficient infrastructure. So, and what that does is it limits access to most important aspects of what people need in order to survive. So we see our company as a social enterprise that is highly driven by the impact that we can create, but at the same time, we need to create a sustainable business out of it.
So maybe to start with a little bit backtracking, why did you start this? Because it's one thing to solve the issue at hand, and we'll talk more about the issue itself, but how do you wake up one day and say, I'm going to solve the water problem maybe in Kenya or Nairobi with IoT? Is that something you were doing before? Is that something that you were struggling with? Can you tell us a little bit of the background story?
Yeah, sure. So I come from western part of Kenya, and when I moved to the capital city, Nairobi, one of the things that was a shock to me was that I had to part with the bills, and that is a common thing in the city. And I started paying my water bill every month. Unfortunately, 3 days a week, there is no running water in the tap. So it's something that was really a shock to me, that you have to pay for a resource, yet you don't have, or have no guarantee of accessing it. And that sort of made me start to ask questions. Why is this basic commodity not a right that somebody can access throughout the month? That is when I started the conversation with myself and my co-founder. And we thought that we are tech savvy, we are people who understand technology. And how can we build then a solution that not only complements what the public utilities are doing, but helps them to bring efficiency and, most importantly, enable people to access this commodity.
So that means, sorry, Paul,
Go ahead.
Just interrupt you. That means to better understand for all the audience that you build solution based on hardware and software. Is that right?
Yeah.
To provide a new service, which is how to get the water in the best way, in the proper way. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So our solution is a hardware, which is basically smart meters and sensors that are able to collect key data about consumption. And we have a platform that aggregates all this data in order to automate bill payment. So we enable people to conveniently pay for their water and ensure that we deliver the right insights and data to the utilities in order to optimize the distribution.
And are you monetizing that at all, or is it something you're trying to create as a business as well? Is it something in terms of geographies that you are testing out, or that you are already expanding to other areas of Kenya? Are you expanding in other places as well in Africa? What's the kind of goal and ideal for you there?
Yeah, so the company started last year, and for the last 8 months, we have been able to connect to hundreds of homes within Nairobi. And now scaling, our goal is to at least be in 1,500 households by the end of the year. And with that, we hope we'll have a proper scalable model that will enable us to reach 30,000 households by the end of next year. So our ambition is to build the biggest virtual water network in Africa, aiming at solving the biggest challenge of water among most countries within the continent.
Well, trust me that because you mentioned the term smart meters, I live in London. We're supposed to have smart meters. I'd rather have your solution because they don't really actually work at all. That's leading to my next question. Obviously, you are solving a problem, which is we know that there's a lack of infrastructure or disused or misused infrastructure around your continent and in Kenya as well. But do you think these kind of technologies that you're developing could also be applied to, here, Berlin or London or New York? Because it's not as if we got it right. It's not as if I live in London and trust me, my house is leaking all around and I don't really have any kind of sense of how. So is that a solution you think yourself you could actually develop elsewhere?
Yeah, so our approach as a company is that we believe technology is really available, and there's a lot of innovation that has actually gone into developing these technologies. But what we have seen less is delivering solutions that directly impact the people. So there is, we see ourselves as people building solutions rather than building the technologies. So definitely I see a lot of potential for example, Internet of Things and AI and data analytics. But what I'm more concerned about is developing a solution that is contextual and very diverse depending on the regions that you are in.
So maybe to link back to the foundation, when you see a project like that, is that something that then, what's your thinking? First of all, maybe let's backtrack. Why did you join the foundation? Why are you doing this? Because it's one thing I was very happy to see Indiana Jones on the screen earlier, but why are you doing this? We can feel all of us here that it's something you strongly believe in, but can you maybe let us a little bit window of why you're doing this and why you decided to join Sigfox? What was the drive for you?
We met, Paul, a few years ago at the Web conference in Paris, and I used to be a tech journalist covering the event for which you were MC. I was tired with buzzwords.
Tired with buzzwords.
Really tired with buzzwords and big data and AI and previously a lot of stuff, a lot of tech buzzwords. It's okay, but what is the impact? Why do we create all these solutions, and for who? What is the impact of technology? And Sigfox is for me the only opportunity in my life to use the technology to create a global impact. Because when I mentioned the Rhinos project, the open solution is going to enlarge to a lot of other spaces in the world. So what we do with the simple sensors is solving a lot of issues, a lot of problems for a lot of people or animals. So this is very big. So for me, it was the only opportunity to use one technology with this Internet of Things in a very simple way, but for a large impact. And that's why I joined the Sigfox Foundation.
So that leads me to my second question. So low cost, the high impact.
Yeah.
So again, let's now imagine, because I know that you're not really working together, although I think you're testing some Sigfox solutions. We'll come to that in a minute. But when you see a project, how do you find a project? How do you find the rhinos? Maybe it's something you had in your head, or maybe if someone wants to say, I want to solve the problem of water in Africa, how do they do it with you? Do they just call you? Who calls it this day and age? Tweet you or something? But how do they do? What's the process? If Brian wanted to work with you, what's the process?
Yeah, that's a good question. We are going to roll out the solution, the rhinos tracking in Kenya, in the weeks to come at Olpejeta. So I'm really pleased to help Kenya and your country, because you are facing poaching and the bad cohabitation between the wild and the man, which is the first reason of poaching. So back to what I said, and to your question, Paul. We only start project, meaning the rhinos tracking, the animal protection, and the detection of seismic waves and earthquakes in Mexico next year. We only select this project for now because there is no solution, no existing solution. We have to create the solution.
Okay.
We have to build the solution. We have to prototype the sensor. We have to start the R&D, because we're a tech foundation. But concerning the Brian's project, which is Hydro IQ, it is of course very interesting for us to collaborate, and to, as soon as you have implemented the Sigfox technology into your hydro solution, of course we need to be hand in hand together, meaning that the Sigfox network, as soon as we have deployed the network, is so useful for so many applications, you know. We're talking about billions of objects in one base station, right? So there are a lot of applications that should be taken as opportunities just because the network is available, and more often it will be available in the world, but you are going to announce something later on in the day.
Yeah. So Brian, exactly, let's reverse now the question. First of all, are you testing at all any of the Sigfox solutions?
Yeah, so we've just started testing out Sigfox-enabled meters in Nairobi. And I understand Sigfox actually launched the network first in Kenya. So we are definitely looking forward to some of the exciting things that we can work together with Sigfox. And most importantly, because to us, scalability is one of the most important things. And some of the technologies that we are currently applying are costly, and what we want is to make our solutions so affordable, so that because the kind of people we work with, we don't want the consumers to bear any extra cost as we strive to take water to them. So it will be really amazing to work with Sigfox.
May I ask you a question,
Please,
just
go
to
ahead.
Brian before ending? The next panel that you will introduce, Paul, is IoT generation to prepare the next WhatsApp, and I'm fully convinced that the next WhatsApp or the next Snapchat will be in the IoT sphere, and moreover, in some other places in the world which are not obviously Europe. I think it should be created probably in Kenya or Latin America, because I meet a lot of people very creative, and the creativity is in your DNA. Just a question for you, Brian. How do you feel the IoT in Africa, moreover in Kenya? Is it something mature in the country? Do you meet young people, or just people, to simplify, that are convinced with the technology? Because we know that Africa at large, and it's not a legend, and it's something real, you haven't experienced the computing journey like in Europe, like Paul and I. So what about the IoT?
Yeah, so in Africa, my perspective is that there is a lot of opportunity for Internet of Things. And I could argue that it's probably one of the best markets to test out this technology, because we are talking about 1.2 billion people, and majority of them still lack access to some fundamental things because of the inefficiency in infrastructure. And I see IoT as one of those technologies that will actually come to leapfrog the continent's need for infrastructure. So a very good example is what we have been able to do with Hydro IQ, which is complementing what actually the public and the government should be able to provide. And I'm seeing a lot of young people, a lot of creative startups out of the continent trying to develop solutions for Africa and actually most emerging markets using this technology. So it's really a huge opportunity for us.
And may I add, is the public aware of this? Or is something, because IoT sometimes, sorry, but you were talking about buzzwords, can seem to be something very science fiction-y that a few people talk about, but me in my daily life really actually impact me. Clearly it does, but are the people aware of that? Is it, if I ask the question differently, is it hard for you to try to sell your solutions to people? Do you have to educate them and convince them before they try?
I think it's not really hard to sell solutions that have been developed by IoT, because a very good example is that when I go to my rural home where there's limited access to electricity, I can still do some kind of banking. I can still use my credit card to make a payment, and this has been enabled by a simple internet-connected point of sale. So already people are really eager to use these solutions, and especially when they just solve the right problem to them.
Yeah, what I like, I mean, you've seen that what we spoke about in the last 20 minutes plus 10 is really these, I repeat myself, low cost, high impact, because at the end of the day, and we see, I mean, you showed us a video of Harrison Ford earlier. We see that a lot of foundations nowadays are shifting the model that used to be the case in the 80s and the 90s, which was purely aid, and now it's like trying to find ways to mix opportunity, economic opportunity, business opportunities with impact, so mixing the two. And I think this is a bit what you are trying to do. You are trying also, this is why you invited Brian, to show that it's not only because we have lofty ideals, but also because these ideals can also promote for some people like economic opportunity, changing their lives, their community, their cities. Am I right?
Yes, yeah, completely, fully agree. And I can assure you that in different parts of the world where the foundation is leading missions, meaning Mexico or Africa, and even Europe, because we are, starting some small project in Europe. It creates a lot of imagination and creativity. This is the starting point of emancipation, of how we could once create a company or even a social company with social impact. So yes, this is something I can confirm that it is a tool of emancipation. IoT is a great tool of emancipation. And it's not depending on the goals or objective we are taking. It's the same. We do impact that creates a lot of energy around us. Rangers and conservationists or researchers in Antarctica, they do nothing. They don't know IoT. And they say, what is it? But we see that the impact because they understand the value, and that's why. That's something really powerful, and I hope it will be powerful for you as well, Brian, and you will have a global, worldwide solution because it makes sense.
Yeah, definitely, and just to add on that, I think for us it's more of, in Africa to operate as a business, you really have to figure out the impact you're having, because the kind of challenges and the solutions that people want are actually things that are at the core of their living. So these are challenges that they live every day. So it's so hard to separate between a company that is making profit and a business that is having impact. So definitely social impact is the biggest business model that is going to grow in the continent.
And because we cannot lead business like we did before, because we know that the resources of the planet are so limited, and for some of them do not exist anymore. So of course leaders have to believe in science once again, and to believe in young people that have solutions, affordable solutions, so very global.
Well, on that, ladies and gentlemen, because we're running out of time, but having lived myself in emerging countries, I think that it's not going to be top-down solutions. We try them all. It's going to be bottoms-up solutions. So I'm very happy that, Brian, you're trying. I'm very happy that, Marion, you're helping. Ladies and gentlemen, please give them a big round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
And
I want your T-shirt.
We are selling T-shirts. We are selling T-shirts for 15 euros to help the foundation to grow. So welcome.
So you have a booth with your T-shirts.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, you can find the booth. Not now because I have someone else coming on stage. Please, yet another round of applause. Marion, Brian, thank you so much, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.